is too low. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In last week's episode, you saw us get that freshly Porterbuilt drop member setup all done on the chassis. We also ripped it apart and we painted it. So guess what, guys? In this episode, it's time to put it all back together. You also saw Andrew completely build this LS motor, mount the transmission. We got it mocked up in there. We got our transmission mount all done. So it's time to start throwing this stuff back together. But before we do, we have to assemble our rear end from Quick Performance. We got our axles to put back in and our gear set. So Andrew's gonna get this stuff situated so we can get it thrown back in the chassis. And then we're able to go ahead and put our 4-link back in, our Watts link, get our disc brakes put back on, our upper and lower control arms, our Airlift Performance shocks, all the stuff that we already had on it, we're gonna put it back. But first, we have some work to do on this cab.
So we got the brake master cylinder mounted up on the firewall. Now we can go ahead and continue on with our braking pedal assembly. So what I have here is our push rod from the stock assembly. Now we have to adapt this rod into our master cylinder here. On the pedal itself, it has this clevis that holds on a threaded bar so that you can thread your push rod here. What I'm gonna do is take a little bit of mashup of the old and the new. We're just gonna cut it here, somewhere in the middle, which will give us plenty of adjustment either in or out. Weld it directly onto our brake master cylinder, so we'll have a brand new piece. All right, that worked out perfect. Our connection is made. I still have plenty of adjustment here. The next order of business inside the cab of the 62 is to get this monstrosity of a HVAC unit tucked up under the dashboard. So this is a Restomod piece. There's several ways to mount the Restomod air units. You can see on the back side of the HVAC case, it's got this big aluminum mounting bracket. We've got this big bump out in the center, and then it comes to a flat, and there's all kinds of different areas here. What I'm gonna probably do is use a weld-on stud provided in the Restomod Air kit. So I've marked out the two here that are for this side. And I've got 2 of the 4 already located. This side is gonna be a little bit more tricky. It's stepped away from the wall. Oh yeah, that's a good 5 inches, 6 inches or so between here and the firewall. So I'll just use one large bracket that'll be like a C, and it'll just go right here and fill that void. Also, I'm leaving plenty of room here for the hosing to go back over and then into this one. She's in there, baby. So everything worked out pretty good. Got my bolts in, my studs are through. I got the bolt on that one. So everything came out just how I wanted it to. So that's all squared away. Next up, I'm looking for mounting solutions to get all of our electronics inside the cab. We're running a stock ECU, the E38 GM ECU to run the engine, reflash with HP tuners, decoded digital gauges. Looking to put this stuff way tucked up under the dash, kind of out of view. Got the final shape bent up here, so this is just a rough shape of it, really. One leg is going to mount to the bracket that's part of the body there, and then the other one is going to mount to this area here. Now we got this thing 100% mounted and installed. Got it up there like a military haircut, high and tight, boy.
Now that Andrew's got the HVAC installed, I can work on the AC controls. In the center here is where the old radio was. You can see the old style control holes. And what we have to do, since this never came with air conditioning, we're gonna locate these three controls right in this space. They come with this bezel, and as you can see, it just fits. We got our gauges into our new plate. So now what we gotta do is translate this plate up there, do some cutting and some welding. Do a little test fit here. I decided to put this bezel in. It actually does fit, just fits in between here. And this will get cleaned up a little more. What do you think, Kyle?
Looks beautiful.
Why, thank you. Now that we got the controls mounting finished, we gotta put some vents in here. We got space here. We got space right here. So we got our little panels made. Threw this one up here so you can see it. Fits really nicely just inside the lip of this entire thing. We're gonna try and make it exactly flush with here, so that way it's just one continuous panel. Next step, we're gonna clean up all these surfaces, prep to weld, get these all set up with some magnets and tack them in. We got our new pieces tacked in, welded in, cleaned up, ground down. And as you can see, these vents fit pretty nice. What do you think?
It's like a glove.
Fits like a glove. Thank you.
Let's see how this looks.
Oh yeah, we got another.
Almost like a glove.
Yep.
Shout out to Jesse at level 7. The old high hump.
All right, now that we made all our modifications to the transmission tunnel, I'm gonna go ahead and have Khalel bolt that thing down. Dave, you seen Khalel?
He's with Andrew.
Where the heck did these guys go?
Did you hear something?
Only the sweet, sweet sounds of nature, thanks to this week's sponsor, Hunting Clash. This week's episode is sponsored by Hunting Clash. It's the best way to get a nice dose of the outdoors while you're stuck at home.
Or at work.
You can travel across the world and hunt dozens of different wild animals. You can also upgrade your weapons and skills to be able to hunt even more dangerous game, all while competing online in a weekly competition. And if all that isn't enough for you, right now, Hunting Clash has a special Halloween event going on with spooky environments and even spookier specialty weapons. You can test your skills as a ghost hunter and try the Bone Collector rifle to try and catch all of the ghosts. So make sure to download Hunting Clash using the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen. And don't forget to use our special gift code, Salvage the Savage, to get an awesome welcome bonus pack that lets you hunt bigger animals and improves your hunting skills.
Guys, what are you doing, man? Get back to work.
Thanks Hunting Clash for sponsoring this portion of today's video. Don't forget to hit that link in our description and use code Salvage the Savage for your welcome gift.
I guess now we have to get back to work.
Yeah, we do, Khalel.
Come on, guys, let's go. Come in? Yeah, hold on, I just gotta make a call.
All right.
All right, today's the day. We're about to get all these body parts and the cab primed, locked down, primed again, and patinaed, man. I'm gonna shoot it with our rust color primer. As you see, there's a couple undertones here. We got grays, browns, yellows, pinks. You can kind of see it over here on the cab as well. I do have a quart, so if I run out, I'm good to go. Firewall is looking good. I think she came out real nice. So I'll let this dry a little bit. I'm gonna head on to the fenders. All right, boom, there you go. She's back to beige. So as you saw, I did a light coat of the rust color primer, and then I dusted it down with this light tan color match. I kind of also dusted back towards the area that we didn't touch just to kind of blend it in a little bit. Once this dries, I'm gonna go back over it with a Scotch-Brite and some water, get some of that red color to come back through, and this should be all done, man.
Mike and Khalel are working on the chassis front end, putting all the control arms in. I have the Ford 9-inch rear end back here, and our third member, it's mated with a 411 gear set. Everything's already set. All we have to do is install it and put in the gasket. All right, the rear end's coming together. I got my shocks mounted on there already. About to put my 4-link bars in.
All right, we got the front end suspension. Most of our brake components are all put on. We got our air shocks put back in. Everything is looking real fresh. The back's done as well. Next step is we're gonna go ahead and put our headers back onto our engine. We got our transmission painted, color matched our block and our valve covers, and it will also color match our Whipple supercharger that is coming. So Andrew and I are gonna throw these headers back on, and we're gonna drop our motor back into the chassis.
All right, so the chassis is moving along great. We can see we have all the suspension parts in it, fuel tank is in it, engine is in it, brakes, suspension is all together. We've already started getting the cab mounts placed on here.
Oh, Andrew, come on, man.
So anyway, we're about to start laying our fuel lines and our brake lines on the truck. We have all our fittings, hoses, bracketry, regulators, tooling all set out on the table right here to make things a lot more efficient for us. I've got the passenger side line complete, coming down under the engine, across the cross member, onto the other side of the engine mount, and back up the frame rail here. All right, so the last piece for the front lines are NPT to a -3 AN. It's a 90 fitting, so just gonna put some thread sealer, get this into our brake caliper, and I'll be able to attach our steel braided hose to it right there.
I need to final bolt the fuel tank down. I'm also gonna add this rubber material just to kind of isolate the fuel cell from our chassis. All right, so I'm moving on up. I got 3 clamps done. Pretty impressed with the way that looks. I didn't do any of it on GoPro because these guys stole my, well, actually he stole my GoPro earlier, so then I didn't have a battery.
He stole it and he's not even
using it. It's just sitting there. This guy.
Does that say Mikey on it?
No, but I was using it. Anyways, next step is I'm going to mount my fuel filter here on the inside of this rail right there.
All right, so we got our header mounted back in. Now we have a little flange welded on, which means we can get this clamp on. And then we have another flange to weld to our mating pipe. So we're gonna be putting this muffler into this little cutout here. So now that we got this all tacked in, we got our clamp, our first piece of pipe, our second piece of pipe pitched, and now our muffler. We want to kind of bring this thing like this so it sits more parallel with the frame. And the way to do that is that we need to take out some material on this side of the pipe. I'm liking it. We're parallel to the frame this way. We're parallel up and down to the frame contour that way. Our pass-through has not a lot, but enough clearance. And then Mikey marked this hole because we're gonna have our exhaust pass through this cross brace and then do a turn down right here. And now that this is all mocked up and tacked up, I'm gonna go ahead and do some final welding on this whole piece. We got one side done. Where's the other side? We got everything lightly tacked. Now the two exhausts look nice and even and they flow in the same directions.
All right, so we got the cab down as far as she'll go, but we're about 3 inches from our mounts. Those are the issues you have with low riders, baby. But we're gonna try to jack the frame up to the cab. Hopefully we'll be able to get some bolts started. All right, got the truck off the lift. The cab is mounted. I must say, man, it's starting to look like a truck. It's looking fresh. So next step is fitting the bed so we could kind of make sure that everything is jiving. I already kind of see one issue. The truck is sitting lower in the front than it is in the back, but that is okay because we'll be able to raise this front up and make it nice and level. This is ride height. So right now we're about 3.5 inches off the concrete in the back and probably 2 inches in the front. So we're gonna fix that so it's 3.5, nice and level all the way through. We're gonna air it out, make sure we have clearance on our headers that we've installed, all that kind of good stuff. So go ahead, Dave. Drop it like it's hot, bro. Oh yeah, baby. How low can you go? All right, so let's have a little peek underneath here. Oh, all right, so we are hitting our pan. We've got plenty of clearance on our headers. Other than that, we're looking pretty good. So, we already anticipated our transmission pan being the lowest point of the truck. We did order a more shallow pan that's coming. It's about 1/2 inch off that rocker, and that's exactly how we built the truck. Our original plan was to lay the rocker on the floor, but these shocks only have 4 inches of travel, so we wanted to make sure we had enough clearance when we aired up to cruise around town. This is as low as it goes. It's too low, but all in all, she's looking pretty. All right, so next step, let's get this bed on. Go ahead, Khalel, throw it on.
Just me?
Just you, bro. All right, so that's the first time we tried to put the bed on with it aired out, and we did run into another problem. There are these little support rods inside of our fender well, up in there, and it is hitting our tire. So I'm gonna take those 2 top rods out, and then we should be able to get this bed to sit where we need it. and rock and roll. Hey, what's up, Dave? How you doing down there, buddy? All right, guys, the cab and the bed are finally mounted back on the chassis, and it is looking like a truck again, guys. Look at this thing. We had to pull the bed off a couple times to make a couple minor adjustments and some cuts, but now it is sitting just proper, man. The thing is looking mint. Before this thing is gonna be able to run down the road, we have to get our Whipple Supercharger and our Wegner front drive accessory kit, which is coming real soon. While we're waiting on that stuff, we're gonna be jumping into the cab this week. We're gonna be installing our Restomod AC unit. We're gonna be starting our wiring. We're also gonna be installing our Airlift Performance manifold, our tank, our compressors. As you see behind me, we got the C10. She's out of the showroom. We're gonna finally be making corrections to what we broke back in California. We also got the Chevelle. She's about to go on the lift. We've been working on the Chevelle in the background, and we're gonna have some updates coming for you guys real soon. We really appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for subscribing. Make sure you head over to www.savagesavage.com, check out the merch store, and make sure you go check out Hunting Clash in the App Store or by clicking the link in our description below. We love you guys. We'll see you next week. Peace. What do you know? It's too low.
That's not on time lapse.